Welcome back to Kleppers Corner. Today in history. October 1st, just another random date, right? Wrong. This day is like a cosmic grab bag of human history, filled with empires collapsing, countries declaring independence, Disney erecting its mouse-shaped empire in Florida, and even a pharmaceutical disaster that turned safe as houses into safe as houses built on quicksand. If you ever needed proof that time is less of a straight line and more like a drunk guy with a Sharpie trying to draw circles on a diner napkin at 3 a.m., October 1st has got you covered. So buckle in. We're going to talk Alexander the Great, Mao Zedong, Mickey Mouse, Johnny Carson, NASA, Cartoon Network, and a pill that made more mistakes than a Florida man in a Waffle House parking lot at 2 a.m. This is a day of human highs, human lows, and the occasional Mickey-shaped churro. Segment 1, the Clash of Empires, Alexander's Big W. Let's start way back, 331 BC, the Battle of Gaugamela. Alexander the Great faces off against Darius III of Persia. Alexander's got maybe 47,000 troops. Darius shows up with something like 100,000, plus chariots with actual scythes attached. Because nothing says stable government like bringing a lawnmower to a sword fight. But Alexander does what Alexander does best. He outsmarts him, pokes a hole in the line, and sends Darius running. It's like watching your fantasy football team destroy your buddy's lineup when he benched the wrong quarterback. The Persian Empire collapses, and suddenly Alexander's got an empire stretching farther than DoorDash will deliver. What's wild is this wasn't just one empire beating another. It was basically a cultural merger. Greek meets Persian, East meets West. Think of it as the original crossover episode. Tangential thought. You know, somewhere on that battlefield, a guy looked at a charging horse, saw a giant sword swinging at his face, and thought, man, I should have been a shepherd. Segment 2. Mao declares a new China, jump ahead a couple thousand years. October 1st, 1949. Mao Zedong climbs up on Tiananmen Gate and says, ladies and gentlemen, introducing the People's Republic of China. Cue the fireworks, cue Chiang Kai-shek fleeing to Taiwan, cue the Cold War panic attacks in Washington, D.C. The PRC changes everything. Overnight, a quarter of humanity joins Team Communism. The Soviets cheer, the Americans clutch their pearls, and Taiwan suddenly becomes that awkward relative at Thanksgiving dinner. Technically family, but sitting at the kids' table forever. What's wild is that Mao's speech basically created one of the most powerful nations in the modern world. And yet, I bet if you were in Beijing that day, you weren't thinking geopolitical realignment. You were probably thinking, dang, I hope the rice harvest doesn't suck this year. Also, small note, Mao called it a people's democratic dictatorship, which is like saying you're on a diet of cheeseburgers. Sounds nice, but it only works if you redefine all the words. Segment 3, Nigeria's independence, 1960. Nigeria gains independence from Britain. The Union Jack comes down, the Nigerian flag goes up, and suddenly, Africa's most populous country is free. This is a huge deal, not just for Nigeria, but for decolonization everywhere. Problem is, the British didn't exactly leave the place neat and tidy. They mashed together wildly different regions into one big country smoothie and said, good luck, you'll figure it out. It's like if you forced Yankees fans, Red Sox fans, and Philly fans into one baseball team and expected them to win the World Series. Spoiler, it didn't go smoothly. Within a few years, coups, counter-coups, and eventually the Biafran War tore the place apart, which, to be fair, kind of feels like Britain's entire brand. Show up, stir the pot, leave, and watch chaos unfold from a safe distance while drinking Earl Grey. Segment 4, Panama Canal, America's goodbye tour. 1979, the U.S. hands over the Panama Canal Zone to Panama. Americans had run it like their own gated community for 70 years. But Jimmy Carter said, okay, fine, you can have your land back. This did not go over well with a certain crowd in the U.S. who thought, but it's ours now. You know, the same crowd that also hoards HOA pool keys. For Panama, it was like finally getting your house keys back after your ex-boyfriend moved out. Sure, he still hangs around for a while, but eventually you're in control. For the U.S., it was a recognition that colonial cosplay doesn't look so good in the 1970s. Segment 5, the Model T and the road ahead. 1908, Henry Ford drops the Model T. Affordable, durable, easy to fix. For the first time, middle-class families could buy a car and not have to sell a kidney. By the 1920s, half the cars in the world were Fords. Imagine opening your garage and every driveway in your neighborhood has the same exact car. It was the 1920s version of everyone owning an iPhone. But the Model T didn't just change how we drive, it changed how we live. Suddenly, suburbs explode, motels spring up, road trips become a thing, and teenagers everywhere finally have a mobile place to make out away from their parents. Ford thought he was building cars, but really, he built prom night. Segment 6, NASA goes online, 1958. NASA officially begins operations. After the Soviets lobbed Sputnik into space, Americans freaked out. Suddenly, your neighbor thought the beeping in his radio was Moscow watching him mow the lawn. Eisenhower says, okay, let's get serious, and NASA is born. This isn't just bureaucracy, it's the start of the space race. Without NASA, no moon landing, no Mars rovers, and certainly no Elon Musk tweeting about dog coins while launching rockets. So maybe, just maybe, blame NASA for giving Elon too many ideas. Segment 7, Shinkansen and Concorde Speed Wars. 1964, Japan unveils the Shinkansen bullet train. Sleek, fast, punctual to the second. It was so good that people stopped caring about how bad the sushi was at train stations. 1969, Europe fires back with Concorde, breaking the sound barrier. Glamorous, fast, supersonic. The only downside? A ticket cost more than your mortgage, and the sonic boom annoyed the heck out of people on the ground. Basically, Concorde was the Tesla Cybertruck of its day. Looks cool, but only rich people buy it, and everyone else just complains about the noise. Segment 8, Medicine's Two Faces. 1957, Germany launches thalidomide, supposedly a safe sedative. Turns out, not so much. Thousands of kids are born with severe birth defects. It's one of the biggest medical disasters of the 20th century. Lesson learned, maybe test the pill more than once before giving it to pregnant women. 1971, the opposite story. First clinical CT scan is performed. Suddenly, doctors can look inside your body without slicing you open like a Thanksgiving turkey. From flipper babies to full-body scans in just 14 years. That's October 1st for you. The best and worst of science on the same calendar page. Segment 9, from Yosemite to Disney World. 1890, Yosemite National Park is established. Granite cliffs, waterfalls, giant sequoias. Thanks to John Muir yelling at Congress, America decides, yeah, maybe don't cut all the trees down. 1971, Walt Disney World opens in Florida. Suddenly, Orlando goes from swampland and gators to churros and Mickey ears. Within 10 years, half the state's economy is built on cartoon mice and screaming kids in line for Space Mountain. Together, Yosemite and Disney World tell us everything about America. Half the country wants to preserve the natural wonders, the other half wants to pave over them and put animatronic pirates inside. Segment 10, TV Legends. Carson and Cartoon Network. 1962, Johnny Carson takes over The Tonight Show. For 30 years, he is late-night TV. He basically invented the format that still exists today. Without Carson, no Letterman, no Fallon, and definitely no Klepper. Though, honestly, that last one might have been for the best. 1992, Cartoon Network launches. For the first time, cartoons 24/7. No more waiting for Saturday mornings. Dexter, Johnny Bravo, and the Powerpuff Girls are always on. Parents suddenly realize babysitting is just leaving your kid in front of the TV with a Pop-Tart. In conclusion, October 1st, one date. Empires fall, nations rise, Mickey Mouse opens shop, NASA takes off, and Cartoon Network teaches us all that a talking dog can solve crimes. It's a reminder that history doesn't move in a straight line. It zigzags, it sprints, it crashes, it occasionally sues for custody of the Panama Canal. So the next time you wake up and think, it's just another day, remember, it might be the day someone invents the car, opens a theme park, or topples an empire. Or worse, it might be the day someone gives Elon Musk another reason to post.